Welcome into TFW Live, the best kept secret in fantasy football, where we keep that week one feeling going all year long. This is episode 330, where we will be talking all the injury news and nuggets from around the NFL headed into week 5. I'm Austin Sear and joined one of my best friends, Big Travie. Bring him on the show. And
What up?
What up to you, Whisper Nation? What's going on, Albert? A lot of gratitude to our members on YouTube who support the show through a monthly subscription. Gus Ramos, Pizza Belly, Don Caples, Bailey Ziegler, Kevin Dobby, Nick, Brett Zabel, John Credit, Eric Lorenzen, Donnie Tubbs, Jersey J, and Hannibal. And if you would like to grow our list of YouTube members, go ahead and click join next to the video. And if you love fantasy football and would enjoy being a part of a community where that you know you belong, go ahead and hit that subscribe button on the YouTube channel. We're trying to get just one more subscriber on this stream. Just one more could be you. If you are new, please let us know where you're streaming in from. We'll shout you out here on the show. Just like Greek Frex coming in here. Greek Frex. What's going on? Oh, as we did mention, we're going to be getting to all of the questions that you have, so keep throwing them our way.
Yeah.
We are also going to work through all of the news and notes from all of the NFL teams that have newsworthy news available. So we're going to be working from A, Arizona Cardinals, down to Z, the Washington WRs. What up, Anthony? Good to see you, Rasta. But before we do that, Travis, talking a little bit about yesterday's game.
Don't make us do it again, dude.
Man, we got it. We got to talk about it a little bit. I want to hear how Whisper Nation is feeling about it. Calvin Brown riding home, listening to the show, coming home from work here. We had a lot of takeaways, man. The Colts beat the Broncos in a game that had 0 touchdowns, a lot of interceptions, a lot of bruised egos afterwards.
Oh, man.
Top-level thoughts, man. I think the big storyline here is, of course, Russell Wilson. But top-level thoughts from you, Travis. How are you feeling after that Thursday game?
I'm going to just show a meme that I saw. I think it was NFL memes that they put out here. The Broncos Colts headed to overtime, had this really decrepit look of SpongeBob here, but that's how I'm feeling right now. After
the fans were leaving, dude.
Yeah, as overtime hit, I told you I texted. We were talking off air about this and the Russ dynamic and all this stuff. Top level for the game, I think for fantasy, we'll keep it to that because this is obviously the Fantasy Whispers, and I want to talk a little bit about what we saw. First of all, I think both of the offenses are broken. Luckily for the Colts, they won, and they played Russell Wilson and the Broncos because a lot of the attention was shifted that way. But I'll tell you what, the Colts did not look great either. It continues to be worrisome for your Jonathan Taylor shares, your Michael Pittman shares. That Matt Ryan just does not look like the savior for this offense that we hoped he could be. I did see a little bit of juice from Alec Pierce in this game, catching some duck balls and some good things. Yeah, he looked good. But other than that, that's more of a dynasty kind of take because right now in redraft, this team is really hard to trust. And on the other side, very similar. Melvin Gordon got a little bit of garbage work in overtime that kind of saved his day. Jerry Jeudy kind of was missed wide open by Russ on a touchdown to the corner, to the pylon that he missed. Had a one-armed dime that went through. The offense looks broken, and I don't know that Javonte Williams leaving it, which we thought could increase the pass game,
maybe
helps. Yeah. I don't know if it helps. I think it actually hurts this team at this point. They've lost.
They get less first downs.
Yeah, they've lost now more linemen for the year with Bowles is out now, so it's not looking good. We had Classic Mike come in, ask us yesterday pregame if you should start Russ over Goff or Trevor Lawrence, Russ over Trevor Lawrence. Real sorry. I at least am sorry. I was leaning on the Russ side for that one. We'll see what happens with Trevor Lawrence. But Mike DM'd me on Twitter and said, I'm dropping Russ. And I can't tell him no. Yeah, like right now he's a QB2. And you play him by matchups. He's a streaming QB.
He's a streaming quarterback now. We liked him in that matchup the last week, and he had his 30 points again in Las Vegas. This, though, should have been a more friendly matchup, and he just does not look like he's able to get it done. I want to give a shout out to a few other folks who have joined the chat since then. What up, The Chosen Rose? What up, Carter Gray? Yeah, we are going to be getting to all of the questions as we work through the news and notes when they're relevant to the topic at hand. Throw your general questions at us, though, and we will get to all of them before the end of the show. So keep those questions coming. Thanks for everybody who's joining us Yeah, man, it wasn't just Jerry Jeudy who had a miss. Obviously, KJ Hamler there at the end of the game that could have been game winner was missed. Is Pete Carroll? Do we owe Pete Carroll an apology, Travis?
I think right now you probably have to be. You have to owe him an apology because I think at least I do. I can't speak for everyone, but I was very, very down on this move to trade Russ away, and it looks like Pete kind of knew that Russ's ego had gotten ahead of Russ the player, and that might be where we're at with this, where your ego outweighs your character traits or your skill on the field. And right now, I'm not seeing any of the magic we saw in Russ in Seattle, and you wonder how much of that was coached up by our guy Pete now because of some of these things. I mean, Russ has a lot of explaining to do, and most of it has to be done on the field. And so until he does, we're looking at something that...
Yeah, I don't want to listen to that guy talk at all.
No.
I want to see him play football. I don't want to see any explaining coming from him other than the way he plays. Well said. And the thing that comes to mind for me is Russell Wilson's balls still look pretty good. You talked about that dime he threw Jerry Jeudy. We said it was a better throw than it was a decision. Like, he had the ball on the money, and then he has some other balls, and I'm like, this is a tight spiral. It's sharp, and it is so overthrown. So there is
pick that they threw when they were in the red zone in regulation. What was that?
Yeah.
Oh, it's bad.
So, yeah, I think you hit the points there, though. Cortland Sutton, you're probably still rocking with him, but he's getting dropped down for you a couple of rungs. He's probably hanging out in your flex. Same thing with Jerry Jeudy, a little bit lower, though, than Cortland Sutton. You're probably rolling out Melvin Gordon. You're probably rolling out Mike Boone. He was all right. We'll see which one ends up taking more of the fantasy production moving forward. Outside of those pieces, though, that's it. And I think Russell Wilson is a streaming quarterback or a super flex quarterback until he shows us otherwise. And just to round it out on the other side, yeah, the running back situation for the Colts was even more dilapidated after Hines went down with that concussion. We got Matt Poppins hammer in there.
Yeah.
What was his name?
Deion Jackson.
Deion Jackson.
Deion Jackson, Philip Lindsay kind of splitting work there with the, nod kind of going to Deion Jackson. Yeah. And we got word late last night that Frank Reich believes Jonathan Taylor's going to be back next week. So it looks like he might have been close. Yeah.
How do you feel about really last topic I want to ask you before we jump into the news and notes here? Michael Pittman.
Mm-hmm.
How are we feeling about Michael Pittman moving forward?
So if you would have asked me coming into this week, I thought he was a really strong buy low candidate. And I'm almost willing to say that he's still a buy low candidate. Remember, he went up against Patrick Surtain a lot last night. Patrick Surtain is playing great. I mean, he's putting great film out there against even Devontae Adams, against these top-level wide receivers. So very, very strong corner play there that he went up against. And he had some big catches. He also had a couple big drops. And Matt Ryan is a little bit shaky of a quarterback, obviously, to trust in. But I think he's a strong, buy low wide receiver too, going forward. He's definitely going to be in that 15 to 24 range, I think, for me going forward. Just because I think he's going to demand more targets as this offense can get its feet under it as Jonathan Taylor comes back into the fold and is a little healthy and makes them a little bit more multiple.
I like that take, man. And I like moving on from this game. Let's go ahead and do it now. We got the Arizona Cardinals first up. Matt Prater, a lot of teams are picking up. He's got a big boot, and this offense was supposed to be good. So this probably does affect fantasy managers out there. He's not going to play in week 5 against the Eagles. He's dealing with a hip issue. Prepare accordingly. Rondale Moore, the speedy one. His knee is keeping him questionable for week 5. Cliff Kingsbury on Friday sounded optimistic at the press conference that he'd be able to play this week. Even if he can go, though, I agree with the blurb here. Make it a tough bet for fantasy purposes. You're taking a real dart throw on him there. Marquise Brown has been the exciting player. I mean, tons of targets in the last 2 weeks. Listed as a DNP on Wednesday, but the practice was just a walkthrough. Upgraded to a limited participant on Thursday before getting in full practice today. 39 targets the last 3 weeks. Quick take from you on Marquise Brown. I want to get an honest gut check on him. Is he somebody you're starting with confidence, or is he a bit more of a flasher who keeps flashing? And then any other impacts that you see from the Cardinals?
So I'll start with Marquise Brown, as you asked there. I think Marquise Brown is doing what you had kind of hoped he would do in this time outside of Hopkins being in the offense, especially in the last 2 weeks, demanding the targets, as you said there, you laid out. Like that he's being pulled off the injury report, like that he should be good to go. Again, the little that the Cardinals have been able to do through the air has gone through Marquise Brown and Zach Ertz. So I'm really in on Marquise Brown continuing to do this, especially with Hopkins out of the lineup. Rondale Moore is interesting. He remains a hold here. They call it a wide receiver 5'6", but what we saw out of him was a lot better than last year. His ADOT last year was like 2. And in this game that he came back in and he took over that Greg Dortch role, he got like a 10 ADOT. So that's a lot better. We like to see him get down the field a little bit more. And then Zach Ertz has just been a PPR monster for you if you've got him. I think only Kelsey and Andrews have more targets on the year from the tight ends than Zach Ertz. So
there it is. All right. Is any questions here? Brocow, what's up? Brett Landy's joining in. Great to have you here with us. Working our way through the news and notes. Going to our next team here. Kyle Pitts, my guy. Well, I don't know about that. But he's going to be out for week 5 against the Bucs. They're calling it a hamstring. I don't know. I saw another blurb that said Kyle Pitts was just like banged up and kind of sore, and it sounds like his ego is a part of that too. I'm not sure. There seems like there's something weird going on with Kyle Pitts. Don't start him in your lineup, though. You're not starting any backup tight end for the Falcons, right? What does this do? Just like an update here, or an upgrade for Drake London, probably? A lot of
I think that's about it. Falcons, very banged up. I think over 9-point underdogs in this game against a tough Tampa Bay defense. Brett Landis coming in here says he has Pitts. And he picked up Isaiah Likely from Baltimore. Not much on the waiver wire. I don't mind rolling with Likely. It's a case of emergency kind of thing. There's guys out there like Hayden Hurst. Maybe I'd be interested in on the Bengals. Guys that can soak up and just score a touchdown. That's what you're hoping. You get a guy that'll score a touchdown and save your day. So it's tough out there, but we understand. The Likely one is interesting only because I know he's a rookie tight end, but he kind of profiles more as like a wide receiver. And they're going to be without Rashad Bateman, and the Bengals give up a lot of work to the slot position. So we like that matchup there.
There we are. Moving on to the aforementioned Baltimore Ravens here. We got Justice Hill dealing with a hamstring issue. He's not going to play in week 5 against the Bengals. Rashad Bateman, he's got a foot issue. He's also not going to play. That's news to me. Oh, man. That's too bad for Rashad Bateman rosters.
Yeah, he's been having a foot deal all week. Hasn't got any practice in. So hopefully he gets healthy and comes back to them. Devin Duvernay becomes an interesting DFS or like dart throw play for you if you have something. So I have Higgins in a couple leagues, and my pivot there is if Higgins ends up being a late no-go in that Sunday night game, I like pivoting to Duvernay here because Bateman's out, and you could get an upside play there. So that's something to think about as well. Obviously, if Tyler Boyd's not there, but yeah.
Okay. Moving on now to the Buffalo Bills. Dawson Knox. Let's keep it with the tight ends. Head coach Sean McDermott said Dawson Knox, foot, hamstring. He's not going to play week 5 against the Steelers. Plan accordingly. A lot of tight ends out. Wide receiver Isaiah McKenzie's got a concussion. He's also questionable week 5. He got that concussion in week 4. Probably not starting McKenzie outside of deep leagues. I do like him in PPR formats. Does this concern you, even if he is active with Isaiah McKenzie, or if he's in, he's in?
If he's in, I think he's a decent play on the wide receiver 4, 5, like a flex kind of play in the PPR leagues. I think he's a guy that could get interesting in this offense, especially with Knox out, especially with Gabe Davis kind of gimpy right now with the ankle. There's something to be said there. Plus, we all know historically the Steelers really bad against slot receivers, and Jamison Crowder out with an ankle, probably going to the IR, probably broke his ankle. Is what it looks like. So there's a lot of the opportunity here on the table for McKenzie, but he's got the concussion. I doubt he plays with that concussion happening last week, but we'll see.
We will see, and we'll see what the next team has for us. It's the Chicago Bears, Travis, where David Montgomery, he's coming back to practice. His ankle has kept him out since 2 weeks ago when I thought his injury that I got from the sleeper update sounded so bad he was never going to touch a football field ever again. That's not the truth. He's doing okay. He's going to play football again this year. He might play football next week. He's not going to play for you this week. Travis, that ankle injury or that limited practice that he got, that's actually very positive.
Yeah, it's some good news.
Yeah, you're still rocking Khalil Herbert, no doubt. He's been kind of doing what he does. You're not starting anyone else on the Bears, though.
No.
So keep an eye out for Dave Montgomery. He'll come back. He's not coming back this week, but it'll happen probably next week, at least in 2 weeks, I'd say, for sure. The Bengals, T. Higgins, ankle issues, questionable for week 5 against the Ravens. He did get in 3 limited practices, but could not escape the questionable tag. Head coach Zach Taylor said that he had to limit Higgins, that he felt good enough to play on Sunday. All right. Hopefully he built up enough stamina from not practicing enough that banging it up on Sunday won't hurt him too badly. Hayden Hurst, tight end for the Bengals, groin issues keeping him questionable for week 5 against the Ravens as well. T. Higgins has been such a beast, Travis. If he's playing, you're playing him, I imagine.
Yeah, what we're seeing now is all these defenses like shadow coverage to Chase, 2 safeties to the other side where Chase is, and Higgins is just feasting because of it. And we know Baltimore, their secondary is just absolutely throttled right now with injuries. So T. Higgins in a smash spot. Even Chase, I think, is in a smash spot. Hayden Hurst, this one, I didn't realize he was a surprise DNP on Friday, Austin. That one kind of scares me as a pivot move from, Pitts. So I would actually kind of be off of Hayden Hurst as well. I know we were talking about some of these replacement options for Pitts.
Yeah, a lot of tight ends banged up. So when you look for a detour plan to cover Kyle Pitts, make sure you don't add in Hayden Hurst or Dawson Knox if he was dropped. A couple shout outs to the chat here. Lady V, glad to see you guys going strong. Us too. Great to have you, Ronald, join in the show. Keep the questions coming. We'll get to them when we get done with all of the news and notes. We're on Bengals right now. Moving on to Browns, though, to David Njoku. Knee issues been creeping up on him this week, but he was removed from the week 5 injury report. He's going to play against the Chargers. Travis, you had called David Njoku one of those tight end sleeper plays, and it's looking like it might be paying off.
Yeah, I didn't realize he had the knee issue when I was creating the show notes for tonight, but it looks like it's not a big deal. If we remember last year against the Chargers, huge play from Njoku at the end of the game, kind of tilted the game. Obviously the Chargers won, but tilted the game for the Browns in that contest. Njoku seems to be the constant in the passing attack. We've had bad games and good games out of Cooper, Donovan's, Peoples-Jones, but really the last couple of weeks, Njoku's kind of broke out here. We'll see if it stands. He's definitely a guy you're starting, especially with the current dynamic of tight end.
Moving on to the Dallas Cowboys. We got a few to talk about here. Dak Prescott, Tony Pollard, CeeDee Lamb, Dalton Schultz, starting with the big guy behind center, Dak Prescott's thumb. It's going to keep him out of week 5, but he's progressing. He just can't grip the ball hard enough yet, Travis.
That wasn't a great update, right? He's like, oh, he's so strong. Like he's doing great. Remove the stitches. The strength's there. He just can't grip the ball yet. Whoa, kind of need you to do that.
I heard that Jerry Jones made that call after he was like, all right, Dak, put your hand on my right cheek the way that you always do. And let's be honest. Like, you're not there yet, dude. You're not there
on Jerry Jones balls.
Yeah. I was going with the butt cheek. You escalated to the ball side. That's cool, man. We'll roll.
Well,
it's Tony Pollard got an illness. Sick with it. He's questionable week 5 against the Rams. I bet he plays. But take that for what you will in terms of expectations. No other news other than it is an illness. CeeDee Lamb's groin issue is making him questionable week 5 against the Rams. Hate to see that pop up, but CeeDee Lamb's just been killing it, looking quarterback proof at the time. Dalton Schultz. His knee issue. He's not listed on Dallas's final injury report. That means he's going to play. Are you playing him?
No, I have him as a fit. Well, I guess you'd probably have to if you had somebody like Pitts, if there wasn't anything else out there. But, guys like Conklin who may not be available. There's other guys that I think are stream worthy that are guys that I would be going towards over Schultz because the Rams are the number 1 defense against the tight end position. And Schultz over his last 2 full games with, Cooper Rush in at the lineup, he's got 18 yards on 2 catches. So not great stuff that we're seeing out of Dalton Schultz. He's kind of crashed back down to earth this year, and I'd be crashing him off my team at this point. Yeah, Robert Tunyon's another one, maybe. Like some of the guys I'd be pivoting to with at least some upside here.
Oh, with the Pitts news?
Yeah.
Calvin Snag and Conklin with the Pitts news.
Yeah, that's a great ad. Like Conklin is a guy that people may not believe in, but has scored some really good fantasy points so far.
And really involved with the offense with Zach Wilson now and was before there with Joe Flacco. Also played okay from a streaming tight end. Ronald Lohan.
I know. I was just cracking up at that. Yeah.
Moving on to everybody's favorite underdog, the Detroit Lions, TJ Hawkinson, who's just been fucking ripping it.
Yeah, dude.
He's got that added opportunity. He's got a hip issue. Not showing up on the final injury report, though. You love to see that. You can start him on Sunday. DJ Chark, thought he might be back. It's not going to happen week 5. Stay tuned. Josh Reynolds, his ankle issues making him questionable week 5 against the Patriots. I bet he plays, though. Amon Ra-St.Brown, I think he's out. Actually, we saw him here questionable. I think we did get a ruling.
Was there an update? Because I saw that he practiced today for the first time. So he returned to practice, which is why I put him on here, because I think it's a little interesting because they ruled out Shark after some limited practice, but I didn't see anything yet on Amon Ra, but that could have changed since we've gone live. If he goes, I mean, look at what they're doing with Swift, Austin. Like, why wouldn't they just rest Amon Ra too? You know, both are so key to the offense. Your bye is next week.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
If that's the case, I'm doing it. And they hadn't really given us a clear answer on the injury Amon Ra was dealing with. They said they saw his MRI and the results were encouraging. It's like encouraging is not a fucking word. That's like, oh, this is a fraction of that. It's like everything is a fraction. 150% is a fraction. 1% is a fraction. Every single thing is a fraction. You could be like, oh, we're encouraged. Like, that doesn't tell us anything. You're encouraged like you thought that maybe he was going to have.
He still has a leg.
Yeah, he still's got a leg.
Yeah, it's encouraging.
Exactly.
Didn't have to amputate.
I could have heard it could be a high ankle sprain from Amon Ra-St.Brown.
Okay, well, that would make sense.
To see this guy who is, I mean, we watched Hard Knocks. We know about Mr. Olympia, his dad. We see it. I counted it. I know every single wide receiver ahead of me. Like, this dude isn't a fake tough guy either. Like, this guy is actually tough. And that's why I think it's almost a problem that he's got this high ankle injury, because I can see him pushing to get back and like literally pushing beyond all pain, but simply not physically being 100% and dealing with the limitations of a damaged ankle that he's just so hard-headed to be like, I'm not listening to the pain. It's like, yeah, but you're still a physical creature, dude.
So yeah,
I hope they sit him out.
I do too. That's what I'm hoping they take the same route they're doing with DeAndre Swift, who won't play either.
Right. Okay, moving on to our Green Bay Packers. Allen Lazard ankle is not on Green Bay's final injury report. Dude, Allen Lazard is starting to look like that guy, man. Last 2 weeks, like he's gotten about 2 or 3 touchdowns so far, over 100 yards in one of the games. He's been fed targets, done good work with them.
I love Lazard. I love Dubs. I love how this offense coming together. We got both the tackles back just to, get in on our Packers a little bit here. Both of our starting right and left tackle are back. Jair Alexander is probably going to play in this game after missing with a groin. Excited for this London showdown with the Giants early kickoff. Make sure your rosters are adjusted. But Allen Lazard firmly on the wide receiver 3-4 borderline for me, like a solid flex play each and every week with huge upside in that offense. You just got to get the right game scripts for the Packers, it seems like. But I think this could be a good one. We got to get up somehow on the Giants, right? And I think Lazard and Dubs could be a part of that reason why.
I think the Packers are – I think all of the pieces working for our Packers are smart. I think Matt LaFleur is a really good coach. I think Aaron Rodgers is one of the best to ever do it. I think they've got a lot of other intelligent, bought-in guys around them. And I think they're going to execute game plans. And I agree with your point there. Like, not everybody every week, but I think you're going to be able to look at the things you think should happen. And the Green Bay Packers are probably going to be able to do what they want to do most of the time. I mean, last point on it, we saw exactly that with the New England Patriots last week. A couple of things went down not their way. The New England Patriots overextended themselves a little bit, kept it more close than not, but we saw the Packers bringing it all the way down to the very end, kicking the field goal. They never lost control of that game, even though the score got a lot closer than I think they would have liked.
Yeah. I mean, even the week before, when you look at the Buccaneers, who are a very strong defense, the Packers were able to kind of score quickly on them when they were running some scripted stuff for Dubs. And so when they're in the offense and they're fully clicking, it's a dangerous team again. It's an efficient team. It's just getting to that point for 4 quarters,
9:49. I see you coming in here with the stress trade you made. We're going to get to that question here before the end of the show. After we get all the way through all of the teams, we're at the Green Bay Packers right now. Washington Durs are the last one. And if you have a question that's burning, you got to get it. Hit us with that super chat. We're a hoe for the dough, so throw it us our way, and we will get it served up as fast as we can. Moving on to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Zay Jones, ankle, got him questionable for week 5 against the Texans. Earlier today, Doug Peterson told reporters that Jones would return to Jacksonville's starting lineup, but this designation puts that a little bit more up in the air. It sounds like he's going to be in there. I'm probably not starting Zay Jones. I do like the Trevor Lawrence play more, though, now.
Yeah, you like the Zay Jones. You like the Christian Kirk play a little bit more, too, because when Kirk had to go to the outside last week, wasn't as successful. I like Zay Jones on the outside, put Kirk into the big slot, let Lawrence cook with those two going, and also Evan Ingram and all those other weapons he's got going. So, yes, agreed on that.
Moving on now to the Kansas City Chiefs. They get their kicker back, Harrison Butker. Oh, wait, never mind. No, they don't.
No.
He's got out. They don't have their kicker. I'm just thinking about Hannon right now. He keeps trying to
get him. And he's got to keep. Yeah.
And he's giving up Bass and he's giving up Younghoe Koo. And it's like, dude, you're giving up good kickers to get a guy who might not even be that good. Like, I don't know. Whatever. Move on from Harrison Butker right now, folks. There's probably another kicker available. He's not going to start this week. Going to the Las Vegas Raiders, Hunter Renfrow. His concussion was a full participant in Friday's practice. Looks like he's going to be back. Darren Waller's got dealing with a shoulder. He was a full participant in practice today as well. I don't think I'm starting Hunter Renfrow, though, with Devontae Adams on the team. What about you?
Yeah, I haven't seen enough of the usage. He hasn't really been involved enough. We even saw in the game where he got concussed, Mac Hollins kind of lead that team opposite of Devontae Adams. So Hunter Renfrow is a hold right now, but he's definitely a guy that, I haven't seen. What's funny about Renfrow is not Julian Edelman, Josh McDaniel. Use guys like Julian Edelman, use guys like Wes Welker in the slot. These shifty slot receivers. So you'd like to see, even with Devontae there, Renfrow get some usage, but it looks like Waller and him may be trading off weeks, and I don't know if it's going to be too easy to peg which one's going to be the guy. But it is a decent matchup, Austin, against the Chiefs. They will get pushed. Right. So I imagine if you're like desperate for that wide receiver or that flex in a PPR league, Renfrow could be interesting.
I agree. Moving on now to the Los Angeles Chargers, Keenan Allen, but dealing with that hamstring. You mentioned before the show, he might have re-aggravated that a bit in his recovery. He's not going to be playing week 5 against the Browns. Josh Palmer, wide receiver as well. He's questionable for week 5, dealing with an ankle of his own. Dustin Hopkins had a kicker injury news this season, bro.
I know.
His quads got him as questionable, and then Gerald Everett, hamstring. Removed from the week 5 injury report, he will play for the Chargers.
Hamstring is stronger than ever. Are the Chargers just bit with an injury bug or what, man? They just keep losing guys and left and right. Look, I think for me, it's the Chargers, and it's the Chargers right? Austin Eckler, Justin Herbert, and Mike Williams. And you're going to roll them out there with some confidence. Normally, I'd be like, oh, yeah, Josh Palmer, but he ran like one route because of this ankle last week. So, it's hard to trust anybody else on the squad right now.
Allen Robinson, wide receiver for the Los Angeles Rams. The news blurb here says, asked about getting the ball to Allen Robinson. Rams coach Sean McVay said, a lot of it is out of his control. Reading more, McVay went on to say the defenses the Rams are seeing and where Robinson is lining up against those coverages plays a role in the lack of targets. Regardless of the reason, the Rams have to find a way to get a receiver other than Cooper Kupp going. Fantasy managers would love if that receiver is Allen Robinson. What do you do with Allen Robinson right now, Travi? I know you picked him up in a lot of leagues. I know Sigmund Bloom gave us great advice of use your emotional investment you have on a player before the season to give you a more accurate compass on that player as the season progresses and actual data comes in. Meaning, if you were really high on a guy and he is struggling, use your added focus that you've been applying to this player to recognize if it's a fluke, if it's a trend. You should have more insight on a player because you've been watching him more closely than everybody else. You have been a kind of that guy for me with Allen Robinson. I don't know if that's fair for W that way, but that's what I'm doing. So can you talk to me about what you see?
Yeah. So I think my biggest thing with Robinson is he's a hold still because you can't trade him really. If you trade him, you're not going to get anything back for him. And dropping him, yeah, you could drop him, I suppose. Like there's definitely people out there you could pick up. Like if you were in on the Pickens, sweepstakes this week, yeah, I could see you dropping Robinson. But the reason I like Robinson as a hold is because I trust Sean McVay. I trust the Rams offense. Right now, the line is decimated, but we have seen this team evolve their offense multiple years throughout the year. So things change, people get added. Right now they have no deep threat. You're waiting for a guy like Van Jefferson to get back in. He's been on the IR. If he gets back in and they can push the ball deep down the field, open some underneath stuff up for Allen Robinson, that could be, worth something. I believe that he is tied with Cooper Kupp in red zone looks in this offense. The difference is that Cooper Kupp has come down with his red zone opportunities. So there are some signs that could say that maybe late in the year, if the line gets if it can gel a little bit more, the run game gets stronger. I know it's a lot of ifs, so you have to be willing to ride it out. That's the thing. That's where he's a hold for me, because I do think that there is something on the end of the rainbow here towards the later half of the year. The caveat to that, though, Austin, is they could be in the sweepstakes for OBJ as OBJ comes back. So you could be, so I don't know. There's some things here, but Robinson for me is still a hold. It's not fun. I was very in on Robinson this offseason. I really wanted this to work, but it just doesn't look. This offense looks a little broken right now, and he seems to be one of the guys that's suffering the most. Him and the running backs.
Yeah. Well, we're going to suffer no more with the Rams and move on to the Miami Dolphins. Jalen Waddle's groins making him questionable for Week 5 against the Jets. Tyreek Hill's got a quad issue that popped up this week, making him questionable as well. He did get in back-to-back limited practices. Mike McDaniel said he's hopeful Hill can play. Look like we're going to wait and be 100% sure later in the week here. So tune in on Sunday morning's lineup show at 8:30 a.m. Pacific time for more up-to-date answers. Waddle's looking like he's on the optimistic side of questionable. How do you feel about Tyreek Hill?
I think it's a valid 50-50. It was nice to see him get limited work after popping up yesterday, because if he wouldn't have not practiced today, we're going the wrong direction. So limited work is good for Tyreek, but McDaniel is very mum is the word, and he's playing an old friend in Robert Saleh of the Jets, who he used to coach with on the Niners. So there could be some games out here. It could even be one of those Tyreek Hill, sometimes you get those decoy games from these guys. So that's a little scary. I'm probably rolling Tyreek out if he goes, but there's definitely, I don't feel great about it. I don't like the words, we're hopeful he can play. They don't really get me going, but we'll see what happens.
Moving on now to the New England Patriots, where we get Bailey
Zappy.
It's Zappy?
Yeah.
His name is Zappy? That makes me happy.
Baylor Zappy.
Happy
Baylor
about
Zappy.
that. He's going to start against the Lions this week, because Brian Hoyer's been placed on the IR till next season, and Mac Jones is not playing either. He's got an ankle making him doubtful. He's not going to play.
No.
Jacoby Myers is questionable Week 5. Would you advise any wide receivers in New England, Travis?
No. I think it's possible that the running backs are going to be the entire offense. If you think back to the Buffalo Bills game where Mac Jones threw it 2 times, I think that could definitely be in the cards here, because the Lions are one of the worst defenses against the running back. They cannot stop anybody's run game. You saw Rashad Penny go nuts last week against them. And also, they have let up the most rushing touchdowns on the year, with 8 rushing touchdowns to running back. So Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson are both in smash starts for me this week against that Lions defense.
Start him now. Would you start? I'm dealing with a real question here, Travi.
Yeah.
And with Nation, if you've got questions relevant to the topic at hand, throw them our way, and we'll try to incorporate them into the show as we're moving through that topic. But give us any question, even if it's totally unrelated to what we're talking about. We will get to it at the end of the show. I've got Ramondre Stevenson in our league at record. I like him a lot, but I like Breece Hall. I like Rashad Penny. I like Alvin Kamara too. Which one of those 4 are you?
Oh, man. When we were talking about how deep your running backs are in Tolton, I didn't realize you had that going on as a conundrum this week. And the Saints play the Seahawks,
right?
Which is a decent matchup.
Mm-hmm.
And we've got all the hype for Kamara this week too. So I think you have to start Kamara.
Yeah.
I guess it would be between Breece and Ramondre. And if you're feeling like you're buying that usage out of Breece last week, then I would go with him. But I think that Ramondre's, even in this time split, Ramondre's matchup this week is really nice, because he'll probably see starter usage in this game, starting their third string running back or third string quarterback. Right. Like they're going to lean on the run game. So I think I'd lean Ramondre, but it'd be very close. And I think it's a good problem to have at this point.
I think it is a good problem to have too, and I've done that there with the two of them. I think I am. I put Brees on the bench, and then I put him back in the starting lineup after he was taken off the injury report. We'll get to that because I was like, both these offenses aren't good. Both these offenses have question marks at quarterbacks. Both these offenses have multiple running backs in the backfield. But Brees Hall looks to be the moving into the unquestioned number one. And he's active on the ground, and he's active in the air. And I don't know if Ramondre is more active on the ground or more active through the air or is on a better offense. So I think I'm leaning Brees just because I think he does everything Ramondre should do, but possibly a little bit better.
Yeah, and he's definitely he's the better prospect. He'll probably be the lead back, whereas Damian Harris is still getting goal line looks, which kind of hurts your upside with Ramondre. The problem I have is the matchup is drastically different. Miami bottom 5 against in points allowed to the running back, and then you've got Detroit as one of the top teams. But I hear you. I think Brees is the bet on talent, and he showed the opportunity swung in his favor last week too. And if Zach Wilson's banged up, with the ankle, they're probably going to lean on Brees more. So probably not a terrible play. Again, I think it's you're kind of good either way, but yeah.
See, now we're going to our New Orleans Saints here. I just mentioned Alvin Kamara. His ribs making him questionable. It looks like he's going to play. I heard somebody say he's looking to be his old self, whatever the fuck that means. Michael Thomas, not looking like his old self, or maybe he is looking like his old self. I don't know which Michael Thomas is the old one anymore. He's got a lot of history in his short amount of time. He won't play. He's got a toe issue. Andy Dalton is going to start for the Seahawks. That's news to me, man. I saw it up in the air.
For the Saints, yeah. Yeah, well, Jameis Winston, Dennis Allen, very conservative defensive coach. I think he's just trying to make sure that, and this team's on the ropes. Remember, this team traded everything for Chris Olave. Right now, the pick that they gave to the Eagles is the number 4 pick overall right now, if it were to end this season this way. So that's something they're dealing with right now. And I think Dennis Allen's is looking like, hey, my defense is good. If Kamara gets back, I got a good run game. I can't afford to have anybody that's not conservative in there screwing our chances. This is a big-time spot for them. They need this win against the Seahawks. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the play here with Andy Dalton because Jameis, kind of lost that game against the Panthers for them. So, against the Panthers. So, that's where we're at with the Saints. Yeah. As far as what it does for the offense, I'm trusting only one wide receiver. That's Chris Olave. He continues to be a guy that does what he does. He gets open and demands targets. And I think I'm fine rolling Kamara out there if he's good to go.
Me too. I'm going to do it. The New York Giants, I don't want to do none of it. We got here Kadarius Toney. He's got double hamstring issues. All right, so Kadarius Toney's not going to get his time time to shine this week. Tyrod Taylor is dealing with concussion. He's not going to play. Richie James, ankle, will play. Wan'Dale Robinson, knee, won't play. Daniel Jones, ankle, will play, but might not play, but he will be active.
Yeah.
There we go. Thanks for running the joke for me.
Anybody
besides Saquon?
No, that's it. And this is I have a league where I have Saquon, and I'm starting the Packers defense. I feel great about that. I think Saquon will have a great game, and the Packers defense will be a good play. So
let's go. All right, our New York Jets, Travi. Dak Wilson, his ankle issue removed from the injury report. He's going to play against the Dolphins. Brees Hall, he's had a knee issue as well. He was removed from the injury report. He's going to play against the Dolphins. Brees Hall, we like the uptick there. Talk to me about Garrett Wilson, man. He's looking awesome. A lot of people said he was, after Chris Olave, was the most pro-ready wide receiver, and he certainly started his rookie season off with a bang. Probably going to be a little bit of up and down throughout the year. But how are you feeling about Garrett Wilson rest of season and this week? Are you starting him in Tolton? I
am not starting him. I have a couple other options I feel a little bit more confident in. It's still a wait-and-see approach for me with Garrett Wilson. If you're desperate and you got to get him in there, I understand the upside is still there, but Zach Wilson is the key to this. Zach Wilson had a terrible game for them by most accounts until the last drive, and then he kind of put something together, had some magic. Brees Hall punched it in, they beat the Steelers. I'm very interested in seeing what, the Dolphins defense a little banged up, but still got some great playmakers over there. I'm interested to see what Zach Wilson has as an encore here because he kind of got going. Maybe he shook off the rush, shook off the fear of the injury or the re-injury. I want to see if Zach Wilson can use all these weapons. Breece Hall, Michael Carter, Garrett Wilson, Corey Davis, Elijah Moore. I mean, there are Tyler Conklin. Don't disrespect the Conk Daddy. Yeah, I think that Zach Wilson has everything in front of him to be just competent. Can he be competent and get Garrett Wilson the ball? That's what I want to see. Don't have a lot of faith, but we'll see.
I want to see Aaron Rodgers behind center for this Jets roster.
God. I don't want to see that.
I don't.
Favre
reaction.
Just take all those pieces and bring them over to Green Bay.
Yeah, so much sex appeal on that roster, dude. Moving over to another sexy team, the Philadelphia Eagles. Boston Scott, backup running back, rib issues making him questionable for Week 5 against the Cardinals. Been limited throughout the week. He's got a chance to play. Who cares? You're not going to play him for yourself. Jake Elliott, their kicker, ankle issue. He's not going to play. Another fucking kicker thing, bro. What's going on with the legs?
Best part about this news, I mean, Jake Elliott will hopefully heal up, you get back, but Texas Longhorn kicker Cameron Dicker is now the kicker for the Eagles this week. Dicker kicker is in. Elliott is out, so we love that. Just fun play on words there. Plus, the Eagles are good offense, and you know if you're trying to get a Harrison Butker replacement or even an Elliott replacement, I think that Cameron Dicker is an interesting one to add there. As far as Boston Scott, the reason I put this in, we don't care because we're not starting Boston Scott, but we do care for Miles Sanders. Less bodies to take away work from Miles Sanders in a nice matchup against the Cardinals. Fire up your Miles Sanders.
Miles Sanders, man. If you picked him up down there around 6, 7, 8, 9, whatever you got him in your redraft leagues.
Think about if you waited, you went hero RB or even zero RB, and you went Josh Jacobs, Miles Sanders, and CEH in that 3-round stretch. Man, are you feeling good about your running backs right now?
That? Yes, sir. Fun way to see it work out. Deontay Johnson with the Pittsburgh Steelers, his hip issues, giving him some problems during practice, but he's not on the injury report. He's going to play Week 5 against the Bills. Told reporters he's good to go. Not fibbing. Are you starting Deontay Johnson with Kenny Pickett behind center this week?
I don't think I'm starting any of the Steelers wide receivers this week. The Bills are one of the few defenses in the league you actually have fear about going up against. That pass rush is good. The pass defense getting healthier. And you got a rookie quarterback. So I think all those things in play. Let me see Deontay earn those targets again with Pickett a little bit more in these tough matchups, and then he'll earn that trust back in the lineup. So now you could be a little desperate. He could be in your flex. You got to roll it. I understand that. He's shown the ability to get targets, but it's a tough squad, tough matchup here.
I got a tough question for you, Travi.
Yeah, you got a few of them tonight.
You have to start one.
Okay.
George Pickens or Deontay Johnson this week?
You have to start one of them? Ooh, I think I'd roll Pickens.
You would.
I don't like Deontay Johnson, so that's a little bit of bias coming in. Like he's not a, he's a beta for me, I'd say, just because he's not the prototypical. And George Pickens, very much an alpha and very much got a little bit of chemistry with Pickett. And so I'm going to go with the upside there. I'd have a little bit of fun with it.
Dude, I'm so tempted to roll out Pickens. I'm not putting him over DK or Jamar Chase, obviously, and told him in our standard league, so I'm not going to do it. But I agree with Evan Silva and over at Establish the Run, or where they were saying that Pickens could be Pickett's number 1 wide receiver right now already. Yeah. You can't take that to the bank, though, based on the targets he got in Pickett's first NFL action. He did go to Pickens heavily, but after a week of practice, more rapport with the rest of the guys, we'll see what ends up happening. Stay tuned. That's going to be a fun one, man. I'm way more excited about the Steelers now.
Yeah, definitely.
Go. And I'm excited about the Seattle Seahawks too, Big Travis. Rashad Penny, who's got a shoulder issue, but he is kept off the report. The other running back, Ken Walker, he popped up on the injury report with a shoulder. He's questionable now. So it looks like Rashad Penny's in a little bit better shape. And Ken Walker is not in your roster, not in your starting lineup. He shouldn't be outside of crazy, desperate, deep situations, but you're okay. I think Rashad Penny, after that blow-up game last week, is a fine start, even going up against the Buccaneers this week, given the competency you see from the Seattle offense. Am I crazy here, Travis?
No, yeah, and that was the point I wanted to make. You said Buccaneers. I know you meant Saints there. Oh. Saints are a very tough run defense. Both teams have tough run defense. NFC South, I understand. And you're looking at the matchup, and I was out Jonathan Taylor in a league, and I was like, well, I have Penny on the bench just sitting here ready to slide right in. And yes, you would add on paper, temper expectations a little bit. But again, because Pete loves to continue running the ball against a tough defense, all he needs is like that one play or a couple plays later in the game. So hang tight with Penny. I think it'll be a good one, especially if Walker is having to miss this game.
And Travis Homer's still on the IR.
Yes.
So this traditional,
which has been nice because you've seen Penny run routes for them, which has been nice. Like, continue to do that, and you could be I'd say like a rich man's Devin Singletary, where like you're actually getting receiving work where Devin Singletary wasn't doing that. You know what I mean? Like, this is a guy I actually like a lot.
Devin, a very rich man's Devin Singletary.
Yeah.
But it kind of is. Like, actually, when you think about the way that Rashad Penny and Devin Singletary run the ball, I can kind of see them in some similar situations.
I think Penny's a better player. That's why I said rich man's. I think he's the better player, but
he gets the goal line and he gets that kind of work. I think Penny's actually kind of in a. The more I think about it, with Travis Homer being on the IR, with Ken Walker already getting limited action, now he's got a shoulder, so it's suggestible to say he's going to get even less as he heals up. DJ Dallas is the only other running back that they got,
right?
And he's not taking anything from Rashad Penny from merit. That's a spell decision, or like let's balance it out. So Penny could get leaned on really hard, and Geno looks good enough to move the chains. Very
good right now. Geno's adjusted completion percentage is the best in the league right now. Geno is killing it.
There we go.
Over
up, King No Limit, saying, hey, good to see you. Lady V, now you know how I feel about the Seahawks. She's a Steelers fan on this one. Moving forward to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Couple left here. Cameron Brate. He's got a concussion. He's out for week 5 against the Falcons. Don't start him. Chris Godwin is removed from the injury report. He will play. It's weird to think he's as healthy as he actually is. Like, Chris Godwin should be in lineups. They need him. Julio Jones is questionable week 5 against the Falcons. And Russell Gage was removed from the week 5 injury report. I don't think I'm starting the last two here, Julio Jones or Russell Gage, even if they're active. I think I'm excited about Chris Godwin, though, and Mike Evans.
Even if there's a fire. No, I think Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, fire him up. I think Leonard Fournette, obviously a great play, and I'm keeping eyes on Rachaad White. Got a lot of usage in the pass game last week. Let's see what happens. If that role continues, you could see kind of maybe that's where they get some more of this targets in the offense, because we don't have AB, we don't have Gronk, we got all these other guys injured. Do they start using the backs a little bit more in the passing game? So something to keep an eye on there. But in this game specifically, yes, the 2 wide receivers and, of course, Leonard Fournette, fire them up.
Treylon Burks with the Tennessee Titans. His toe issue is keeping him out week 5 against the Durs. Don't start him. You probably shouldn't, even if he was in. Are you starting any pass catchers for the Titans, Trevi?
The only pass catcher I want is Derrick Henry. Although I will say Robert Woods is a decent play this week. Washington, a huge defense to target for your wide receivers. So I do think that this could be a game that gets a little bit of shootout. But, it would have to be a deep play for me with Robert Woods. But, Derrick Henry getting these targets over the last couple of weeks is exciting. I hope that continues.
Yeah, I think kind of good. Hope it does. Dontrell Hilliard, he's active, right?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe he played last week as well. So
okay. Would you roll him out in any in our 16-team listener league?
The listener league, Hilliard? What did Hilliard have last week? I'd have to look at what he was able to do, because that would be the only way I'd put him out there, is if he was getting action even with Henry getting the targets. It looks like they're scheming Henry as like they realize he's the only way this offense moves. So I'd be interested.
He had 4 targets, 4 catches, just 18 yards. Hilliard did 4 targets. That was nice. But even still in that situation, Derrick Henry
highest snaps of the year too. Yeah, I think in our listener league, it's not a bad one. If any of those are first down, that's an extra point too. So
he's been involved in the pass catching game too. So I think maybe in deep PPR leagues for Hilliard. Yeah, that's probably about it. All right, the last team we got now is the Washington Durs. Brian Robinson. I didn't have trying to come up with a nickname for him.
Brian 50 Cent Robinson.
I'll roll with that one for now. Leg got him practicing on Friday. He's running by Ron Rivera. They're making out on the sidelines. It's a beautiful thing. Jahan Dotson's hamstrings keeping him out for week 5 against the Titans. Logan Thomas, his calf has him with the questionable tag, week 5. Curtis Samuel, he's sick. He came back to practice, so I think
he's so sick. Sick with it.
Little bump up for Scary Terry with Dotson out.
Huge bump up for me with Scary Terry. My article for Club Fantasy FFL, he's my start of the week at wide receiver. Tennessee, one of the worst defenses against the wide receiver. They have allowed double or 2 or more passing touchdowns to every quarterback they've faced this year. And we've got Terry without Dotson in there. So I think Terry scores a touchdown this week, and he could have a huge monster game against this Tennessee Titans secondary. I also like Curtis Samuel to get the bump up, especially if we see somebody like Logan Thomas miss this game with Jahan Dotson, because Curtis Samuel has been like a low ADOT guy. He's just been that guy they pepper with targets in this offense and get him in space, run him on jet sweeps, use him as a running back out of the backfield. So especially in PPR, Curtis Samuel, great play. And I love Terry McLaurin's outlook for this week.
Starting Antonio Gibson in leagues, you got him?
Man, so I just traded him away and told him if I in our league of record, if I had to this week, like if Brian Robinson was active, I wouldn't be starting Antonio Gibson.
Yeah, not yet,
if Brian Robinson was not active, I would be okay starting him because he could at least, you'd presumably plunge in for a touchdown and save your day. Our touchdown dependent RB3 kind of situation.
All right. Well, folks, that's it. That is the Washington WRs. That's the last team, and we go through alphabetical order. We are through the news and notes from around the NFL. And now we're going to go ahead and get to your questions, Whisper Nation, starting back up at the top. A whole 50 minutes ago, Greek Fricks asks, can y'all help me with a flex full point PPR? Pick one, Najee Harris, Ramondre Stevenson, Hollywood Brown, or DJ Moore. I'm crossing the last one there off just right away. DJ Moore, not for me. Hollywood Brown, Ramondre Stevenson, Najee Harris, Travi.
Full point PPR, I'm going to go with Hollywood. It doesn't feel great. I don't like benching Najee. I don't like benching Ramondre in a good matchup, but Hollywood is getting targets, and that is a godsend in PPR. So I think that can really just help your day.
Rasta tuning in from Palm Springs, not listening, but I do like to hear where you are not new, but listening in from Palm Springs, and love to hear where everyone's tuning in from.
Yeah.
The Chosen Rose asking, what are your thoughts? I get rid of Josh Jacobs and Zach Ertz for Travis Kelce. Ooh, I've got Eckler, Chubb, Pierce, and Penny.
Yeah, I would like you to move Pierce instead of Jacobs, but I don't mind this deal at all. I mean, you get Kelce back, so that's a huge.
I really like this. This is a increase in your starting lineup. I don't care if you do Pierce, you do Jacob, even Penny. I'd be okay with any of those three, because getting Zach Ertz in there would be a real roster bump up. All right, you're tempted on this trade. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see here. A lot of questions on the tight ends, or a lot of mentions on who they're picking up for folks who are rostering Kyle Pitts. All right, 9:49. I'm getting stress trade. I made gave up James Robinson, Dallas Goedert, and Metcalf. Got Jonathan Taylor and Tyler Conklin. Even though I already have Derrick Henry, now my wide receiver is thin with Olave and Hollywood Brown. Yeah, but your running backs are thick.
With 2 C's. You gave up James Robinson, Goedert, and Metcalf. I get Jonathan Taylor and Conklin. Even though, I would have liked you to keep Metcalf, but that's all right. I mean, you're getting Jonathan Taylor, so I think you're going to be just fine.
Yeah.
And Olave and Hollywood are doing it for you, so you can't be mad at that.
No, you can't. You can't. I understand this stressing you out. You gave up more than you got back, but you got the hands down best piece in this deal. And I don't think it's just going to be value. I think he's going to produce like we've seen Jonathan Taylor produce in his career. All right. Looking for the next question here. Love the chat popping off. Where's Donflict at? Yeah, what is Donnie doing right now?
I think he's working for PFF this weekend. So he's got a few games that he's rocking with. He might be back on Sunday, but definitely going to be back next week with us. So
fantastic. King No Limit asks, who can I trade to get Kamara, T. Higgins, Jefferson, Lamb, Waddle? Maybe I can get CEH in the deal too. Who can I trade to get? He's got a target list, man. He's like, I want Kamara, T. Higgins, Jefferson, Lamb, or Waddle.
Are you saying you want to get all those guys, or you can trade to get Kamara with all those other guys? First of all, I wouldn't. I'd keep all the other guys you have. If you, I don't even know how to answer this. I don't know what you're asking. But King No Limit, come back to us and let us know, and we'll help you out. But join the Discord. The link is in the description, and we'll get you. We got all sorts of trade questions going through there. If you can get CEH, oh man, I wouldn't trade any of those wide receivers away though. Although you got 4, so you probably want to try and.
Is he asking to acquire these guys, or does he's who he has and he's looking to see
who can I trade to get Kamara? I'm thinking, and then he's saying T. Higgins, Jefferson, Lamb, Waddle. That's what I'm guessing. I don't know. There's no punctuation.
Who would you rather have right now, James Robinson or Alvin Kamara?
Alvin Kamara.
Yeah?
Yeah, because
he's feeling inside.
Yeah, because the thing with Kamara is he's going to be involved in the passing game.
Yeah.
I'd actually love if they stuck with Dalton too, because Dalton will give you mirror more of Drew Brees, right? So he'll pepper him more. The other thing about Kamara is there's nobody knocking on the door of Kamara. Mark Ingram, they let Latavius Murray. It's Kamara.
Tony Jones got out
as long as
by a dude they picked up off the practice squad.
As long as Kamara's going, he's the guy. ETN has had games where he's outsnapped James Robinson. So that's the fear with James Robinson. But yes, he is one of my favorite guys. Look, speaking of Kamara, if you were hanging on to Kamara his rookie season and people were laughing at you in the chat saying, "Oh my God, like there's Mark Ingram and Adrian Peterson ahead of him. What are you going to do? Are you going to hold on to that guy all year?" Yeah, I am, because anything could change to make him a league winner in that offense with that receiving profile out of college. He's just a guy you got to keep stashing. It's not like a James Cook who's buried on the depth chart. This guy is the 1-for-1 for Leonard Fournette. And now he's in the last game we saw, and that's all we have is the last game. He saw more receiving work. Scripted drives were for Rachaad White. So it's exciting stuff, man. I'm foaming out the mouth for it.
Thick and tangy, brother.
Yeah, exactly. Like his yogurt.
Would you trade Tom Brady away for Derek Carr?
No. Tom Brady finally got going last week at 31 points.
Brady.
Yeah, I'd be going to get Tom Brady.
Dude, I love.
Wait till after this game if you're going to trade him away, right? Because he's going to play the Falcons, drop probably 4 touchdowns, and then trade him for somebody way better than Derek Carr, dude.
Tom Brady is focused more on football than he's ever
been. Yeah, that's true.
The gray area. Is it normal to just ride the season out in Dynasty and stop trading? Yeah. I got fine. Jefferson, Hollywood, Deontay, Garrett Wilson, Burke, Etienne Walker. 8 first this draft coming up. Jesus. Maybe I just stopped trading.
No, I mean, if you could keep getting first, that's fine.
I've been trading nonstop since last season.
Hey, you're speaking to the right people around here. We love being active.
Johnny was on this. Johnny gasses up the 2023 draft class so much.
Well, he has to.
Well, he went out. Well,
he has to now.
Yeah, now he has to because he traded away so many players to get like 3 first-round picks in a competitive.
Well, yeah, I gave him 4 firsts for AJ Brown and Mark Andrews.
Right. 2 next year.
2 of them. Yeah, 2 next year, 2 the year after. But 2 of those picks were his already that I got in the Dalvin Cook deal. So
there's a lot.
That's how much he's turning around.
I'm hearing the wide receiver class isn't looking so good. Good running back class, not as strong a wide receiver class, especially after having a few good wide receiver classes.
Quarterbacks are supposed to be really good too.
Quarterback's good, running back's good, wide receivers maybe not. So is it normal to just ride out the season Dynasty stop trading? Absolutely. Yes, you can do that. You got 8 firsts this upcoming draft. You're probably good on the next year's draft on this. And I like still Jefferson, Hollywood, Deontay, Garrett Wilson, Burke, Etienne. This is all really nice, especially Jefferson, Hollywood, Deontay, Garrett Wilson. We just said there's not going to be good wide receivers, presumably, in next year's draft class. So you're already stacked with some really nice young wide receivers here. You should be stacked up to build up some more quality running backs. If you're rebuilding and you're not going to win this year too, Travis, would you consider trading ETN if you could still get like a premium evaluation on him, or would you hold him?
Trading for him or trading him away?
Trading him away. What would you do with Travis Etienne in Dynasty right now?
If you get a first for him, yeah, I'd be fine with that.
You do it for a single first?
Yeah, I think I would. I mean, you're just kind of recouping what you took him at kind of a couple years ago. Robinson, younger. I mean, he's only a year. He's the same age, right? So he's going to be around.
Like the same
yeah, age. So I think that's something that kind of works in play. I do think that he's got more value. Maybe a first and a second, now that I think about it a little bit. But yeah.
I agree with you here. Nash says Mark Andrews the best tight end this season.
I think Travis Kelce's the best tight end. Yeah, I think that Mark Andrews has a spike week. I'd say that Mark Andrews' ceiling any given week is higher, just given the way that he's used. But yeah, I think
the Ravens are just looser too.
Yeah,
like they can just make it fly any week. Lower floor, higher ceiling for Mark Andrews.
Yep.
All right. King No Limit clarifying. My bad. My wide receivers are T. Higgins, Jefferson, Lamb, and Waddle. Okay, so that's what we thought.
Yeah, so of these wide receivers, I do think Lamb is the one I'd be willing to move, but I don't know if I do Lamb for Kamara. I don't know. That's tough because I have an affinity towards Waddle. Or, I'm sorry, Waddle was the one I would move. Sorry, not Lamb. Of those wide receivers, Waddle would be the one I'd be willing to move for Kamara, but I wouldn't want to do that deal. That's what I'm trying to say to you. You're saying, but he also said he has CEH. So, like, is there something else you can do? Maybe 2 running backs, like CEH and something.
I think he wants to
for
get
Kamara.
CEH. Maybe I can get CEH in the deal too.
Oh, I mean, Kamara and CEH for Waddle. Would you do that deal?
I've got Kamara right now, and if somebody offered me CEH and Waddle,
that's literally who I have. Yeah. Would you give me Kamara right now on the air for CEH and Waddle?
it depends on roster construction for me. And we have his roster.
He definitely probably should make a move at like to consolidate these wide receivers. Yeah. I don't know if Kamara is the one I'd go get. Like, would you feel more confident in Joe Mixon? Like, if you went and go get Joe Mixon. But yeah,
I think I'd probably keep Kamara,
which means he would want to go get Kamara.
It's so close though for me.
But yeah, exactly. That's it. My thing is like Waddle's got upside, but it's late season upside. We got to get Tua back, I feel like, and really get the upside that Waddle has. But of all these other guys, Higgins, Jefferson, Lamb, those guys are hitting it right now and are only probably going to get better. So I want to keep all those guys. Waddle would be the one I'd be interested in. And you're buying low on Kamara, right? That's the goal, is that Kamara gets back, gets healthy, continues the usage, pushes forward. Yeah, that's tough.
Nash Co. Should I move Rashad Bateman, Godwin, or Jerry Jeudy for Amon Ra-St.Brown or keep all?
Should I move bot? Yeah. If you could do Bateman and Jeudy for Amon Ra, I don't know who'd be doing that, but do it now. Keep Godwin, but definitely go get Amon Ra. And like try to do the Bateman and Jeudy part first. Like I don't think they're going to do that, but.
I'm a little concerned about the ankle for Amon Ra-St.Brown, but that's probably the only reason why Amon Ra is available.
Yeah, exactly. And then you're buying it. So he gets the bye week. Hopefully he's out this week, rests in the bye week, and then he comes back. You're looking a lot better with Amon Ra than those other guys on the because Bateman's hurt too.
Exactly. Pizza Belly, CEH, James Robinson, and Aaron Jones. Half point PPR. Pick 2 of them.
I'm gonna go James Robinson and Aaron Jones. The Jaguars are favored by 7 over the Houston Texans. So I think this is a good game for Robinson. Otherwise, I could see leaning CEH, but yeah, it's Robinson and Aaron Jones for me.
You know what's scary? It is for me too. It's James Robinson in there for me for sure, because I think the game flow, he needs game flow, but I think he's going to get it, and I think James Robinson could smash this week. CEH is always kind of nice. Aaron Jones is also somebody who might need the benefit of game flow, and they're playing against the New York Football Giants. I could see Aaron Jones. If Aaron Jones doesn't make his day in the first half, I'm very nervous about what Aaron Jones is going to be doing in the second half in a game where you expect the Packers to dominate, you expect the Packers to be ahead, and you expect them to control the clock running A.J. Dillon more than they would Aaron Jones.
I just trust the usage lately of Aaron Jones than like week 1. So week 1, he saw only 8 touches, right? And then we talked about LaFleur saying, oh, I need to run Aaron Jones more. We're like, duh. Since then, 18, 15, and 19 touches in each game. So I think they're in on Aaron Jones as like the guy who gets it done for him. And then like A.J. Dillon ices the game for them kind of thing. And that's what we saw a little bit in that overtime. They kind of just pounded the rock with Dillon down the stretch. And that's where he got a lot of his yardage. But yeah, I understand. I mean, CEH is like one of those guys that you're either going to not start in the right spots or just go, he blows up on your bench all the time. But he's always a threat to score a touchdown, maybe more in that offense.
King No Limit clarifying, already tried Mixon. I got offered Lamb for Kamara, but don't really want to give up Lamb up, and I need a running back because Swift got hurt and Gibson ain't going to be good.
Yeah, I wonder if you could do Gibson. Oh man,
I don't
Waddle
mind
would
this.
be the
You
one,
want
but
is there another running back that you could pick up to be a little bit more
a
solid?
little more,
Possibly?
a little.
Like I love the upside on the Kamara situation, but like you need an
Let me
active
ask you
running back.
this, because like if we're looking at, man, Fournette is just like a guy that screams buy low, but he's just like the line's been so bad. So, but this is sometimes what you have to do in buy lows. You have to take on the guy that looks like shit right now, in the hopes that he turns around. And so Kamara is a decent buy low. Cook is another buy low because they just haven't gone through. Fournette. Connor, if Connor wasn't dinged up, he'd be another guy. I'd be like, okay, maybe he's going to turn it around. But yeah, I think when you're like, isn't there somebody else you go for like that? When I try to roll through them, I'm like, I don't know if there is
like
right
James
now.
Robinson for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's like these guys, like, yeah,
Maybe Brees.
yeah, Brees. I wish he wouldn't have scored that touchdown late last week. You know, it's like because people are going to be in on Brees.
Right.
He was a touted guy. He was highly drafted. He helped them win last week. He finally flipped the script on the usage. But yeah, Brees would be one I'd be interested in. But I think I might. I mean, would you rather have Kamara or Brees? Because again, I know Brees has the upside, like the mystery box, but Kamara is like a guy that's going to be, if Kamara is healthy, he's like in the usage, the CMC and Saquon usage bracket. Right. And that's the problem with Kamara is like trading. Like
if you have a chance to get Kamara, maybe you just have to take it. Because what you said is true, man. And it's like the only reason Kamara is available is because of the shit start. But there is a couple of paths where Kamara becomes Kamara again. Yeah. And if you can pull on that, that's going to be league shifting for you. So I don't hate it, man. I don't hate it.
Yeah.
What up, Jersey J? I'm pissed that Bateman's hurt. Yeah, it sucks.
Yeah.
Mostert, Algier, Rashad White. I need to start one due to injuries. Full PPR, 6-point passing touchdowns. Mostert, Algier, Rashad White. Mostert or Algier or Rashad White.
I'm leaning Mostert.
Me too.
He's definitely at least like some. I think him and Algier will have similar workloads probably, but yeah, Mostert is one I'd go with.
Pizza Belly, DJ Moore or Deontay Johnson, full point PPR.
Woof. Fuck.
I'm going Deontay.
Yeah, I think that's who you got to go. He's at least shown us more this year.
All right. We got Jersey J shouting out Brees Hall. We know you've been in on him, man. Appreciate the words. There's no running back off waivers. Already tried getting Fournette, Mixon, Aaron Jones. So it sounds like you've been doing your work.
Yeah, so then maybe Kamara is the option, and I'm the more I talk through it, I think I would give up Waddle for him. I wouldn't feel great about it, but if you need, I would definitely lean Waddle over Lamb because I think with Dak coming back and what Lamb's been able to do, he is the number one there.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I'd lean with it. But yeah, I don't think it's terrible. And it's gonna feel weird because again, Kamara hasn't done much, and we're like, ugh. But that's what you're doing in buy low. You're trying to get a guy that's is going to be in line for usage.
All right, you're welcome, Pizza Belly. Thank you for joining the show, and thank you to everybody here on Whisper Nation who joined us on October 7th for the News and Notes show. It's been great to chop it up with you on this Friday afternoon, Friday evening. We're going to be back answering lineup questions 8:30 a.m. Pacific time Sunday, an hour and a half before kickoff. Not the London game, but before the typical 10 a.m. Pacific time games. We'll be on an hour and a half before that. And bring your questions, bring your popcorn. We'll see you then. Travi, any closing words?
Nope. Good luck this weekend, and we'll see you Sunday for the ultimate hype fest as we get ready for Week 5 action, man. I'm stoked.
Yeah, Jersey J, we did run through all of the injuries before you jumped on. As soon as we hit the end broadcast button, the live stream will become available for you just a couple minutes afterwards. On behalf of Big Travi, Johnny Game Time Hicks, our excellent producer, Donnie, I am Austin Sear. Together, we are the Fantasy Whispers. We'll see you on Sunday.
Peace.
Right here.
Look at you go. You made it to the end of another one of our videos. Hey, if you still have some questions, I totally understand. Or you just want to join an awesome fantasy football community,